Happy Wednesday and welcome into College Football Mornings. I am Chris Moxley. You can find me at Chris Moxley19 on Twitter and everything I do at Campus Can. College Football Mornings are an in-season morning show every weekday talking about starts, sits, news, waivers, and betting in a compact form from the C2C network. If you are watching this, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube where we have content every day. And if you're watching this video, make sure that you like it. We have weekly shows. We have daily shows. We have everything you're looking for from a college football perspective. Today, Wednesday, is usually a Prize Picks 5 and 5. Well, at the time of this recording, not all those lines have been released. So we're going to pivot and talk about Thursday's topic, which is Saturday lines and the games that we like for this weekend. We've already seen a lot of movement. Matt was so gracious to take over that for me on Monday when my computer and internet were not working. And we've already seen movement from those lines. So I'm going to give you a little bit different stuff and a game that I still like. Let's kick it off with the game I do like, actually. Talked about this on Sunday, and I'm going back to the well because I don't think the movement is all that different. I want App State, Texas A&M under 54 still. Currently, it is 54. It was 54.5 on Sunday. I'm still taking this line because I think this line is too dang high. And here's why. App State was not the team that we saw in Boone on Saturday. Their offense is not that good, and their defense is not that bad. I tend to believe that we are going to see something a lot closer to a regular Texas A&M game, which is they win 21-10, something like that, where it's very low scoring. Their defense is excellent. They return 4 or 5 players that could be first team all conference in any other league outside of the SEC. App State also has a good defense. I think they're going to give Haynes King some problems. Haynes King was not perfect. I do believe that this game goes under the 54, and I'm also very intrigued by the spread here, depending on what number I can get it at. If it's currently still 17, I will take 17. I might play it up to 17.5, but App State's getting a little too much credit for what happened on Saturday and not who they are or who Texas A&M is. I think in a regular game, if we didn't see what happened over the weekend, that we would be looking at a spread between probably 20 and 23.5 if I had to guess, but that is that's a long way off from 17.5, depending on what you're looking at currently. So I'm gonna think about the spread the rest of the week. Pay attention to what I'm saying. If you're in the Campus Canton Discord, I'll have a more definitive stance on that later. But I'm currently taking the under 54 in this game. Second game, and it's a 2-for-1. Wake Forest is favored by 13.5 against Vanderbilt. This game was 8 earlier, but now Sam Hartman is returning, and Sam Hartman is worth more than 5 points. Sam Hartman is probably worth 10 plus points. The line's only 13.5, which means it's under 2 touchdowns. I'm very interested in playing the Wake Forest on this side. I think this number should be either closer to 17.5 or 20. I expect it to continue to rise. The return of Sam Hartman is huge for this offense, which is also why I like Wake Forest over 20.5 first half team total. Vanderbilt's defense is not very good. They just gave up 31 points to Elon. They gave up 10 to Hawaii, but Hawaii is terrible, to be frank. I do think we are going to see a very motivated Wake Forest team in Sam Hartman's return, and I think they are going to score a lot of points, and I'm not sure Vanderbilt's going to be able to keep up, which means I like the getting the line under 2 touchdowns, 13.5, and I like Wake Forest going over 20.5 in the first half. I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing. One more game, and it hits close to home because it has my Gamecocks. I think under 53.5 here is a very interesting number. I think the Arkansas defense has a lot of playmakers. And this is dependent on the health of Jalen Catalon, depending on what we learn about that. If he's not playing, that makes me feel a little bit worse about this number, but I'm not encouraged by the South Carolina offense in any capacity. This offense was bad last year, and I don't feel much better about it after their win against Georgia State. They had 2 special teams touchdowns, which makes the final score look a little bit wonky. They also didn't really change any offensive schemes despite having Spencer Rattler and a whole new receiving core. It was a very, very weird approach that I thought that Satterfield took to his play calling to just not change it and say, hey, we're going to roll out the same thing we did last year. Kind of bizarre, and I don't think it's an encouraging sign for this offense, if I'm being totally honest. I think Arkansas is going to have a little bit of trouble scoring here. I think that South Carolina's front seven is not terrible, especially their defensive line. Zach Pickens is a really good lineman. I think that he could, I think they can hold their own against Arkansas. If they can hold their own against Arkansas, I think the Razorbacks can have a little bit of trouble scoring. So this number's at 53.5. I'm not that crazy about both teams scoring enough to hit this total. I think Arkansas could get 30. I don't know if Carolina could get 23.5. That kind of lines up with about where the implied T totals are at based on the spread of 9. I just have a lot of questions about both these offenses, what the scoring actually looks like. And I'm a lot more skeptical on the South Carolina side than I am on the Arkansas side. And even if Arkansas gets 30 points, there's a lot of work to do from the South Carolina team. And I'm not quite sure that we're going to be able to get there. I thought about playing the line here. The line is 8.5 to 9, depending where you look. I think I'm going to stay away from that and just hammer the team total. Getting it at 53 is a nice number. Getting at 50, I think I will play it down to 51.5. I think that I can still feel, somewhat confident there. But 53.5 is a really nice play there. So 3 games: App State, Texas A&M under 54, Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, Wake Forest minus 13.5, and Wake Forest first half team total over 20.5. It's under 3 touchdowns. I think they score 3 in the first half. I'll be frank. Arkansas, South Carolina under 53.5. I have a lot of questions about this Carolina offense, and I don't feel like they were resolved and they might not be resolved against a pretty good Arkansas defense. This was replacing our Prize Pick show, so make sure that you tune in tomorrow when we actually reveal those numbers live. Talk about who we like, talk about who we don't like. And yeah, hopefully we can win some money again this week. And make sure you like and subscribe.